everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're here today with video number 10 in our series of videos on our Apache helicopter PC theme build. And what we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be assembling our AIO, our 360 millimeter Aorus all-in-one liquid cooler. Originally this video I was going to put the radiator into the case, but I decided I would do a separate video on the assembly of the cooler. So let me make some room here on the screen and we'll get started. Okay, so this is our cooler right here we have on our workbench, our work table. This is 360 millimeters. It's an all-in-one, which means it comes with the radiator, the cooling lines, and the pump. This pump is actually customizable. It has an LCD screen on it. You can see right there, it's got this protective paper on it right now. But this is customizable where you can put your own logos on there or display the CPU temperature. So I can't wait to see how this works out. And it's your wiring harness, comes off your pump. And you got your one large connector right here. That's your SATA power. That comes off the power supply through a SATA cable, and that's how your pump gets the power. Now that also powers up all your fan headers, these right here. And there's 3 of these, one for each one of these 120 millimeter Aorus fans. And this fan plug will plug into this fan header, like so. And these fans are also RGB, so you're going to have an RGB connector also. So we also have 3 of these, one for each fan, and there's 3 on this harness. And also this harness has a USB connector for an internal USB header that's on your motherboard. And that's how your software sees this cooler. And that's how it connects it to the software so you can customize it. Now these fans, they mount on the radiator like so. So remember what I told you in our other videos, our exhaust comes out through the side of the fan with the brackets on it. So being that we're looking at this upside down, because this actually has to turn around and go up inside the case. So we're going to kind of have to picture it in our mind that we're looking at this upside down. So we want our air coming out of the side with the brackets. We want to push the air through our radiator, so we're going to mount these on there as so. And the holes in this fan line up with the holes in this radiator right here. And there's 12 of these holes because you've got 3 fans, 4 holes per fan. And we also want to pay attention to the orientation of our little wiring harness here too. We want this harness to come out of the top left hand side of the case. So like I said, you got to picture this in your head that this is flipped around up inside the computer. So we kind of got to like mirror what we're looking at. So this would mount this way then, because once this is in the case and turned around, the wiring harness will be on the left top side. So let me show you the screws that hold this down, hold each one of these fans down. You can see right there, these are a real fine thread screw, and these are a specific length. And the way they determine the length of this as far as how much it's going to penetrate into that radiator bracket is they give you these little spacers right here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me slide one onto that screw. And if you don't use these spacers right here, what will happen is you'll screw that screw into that radiator core, and then you got a big leak in your radiators. Well, it's junk at that point, because these are all pre-made. The pump, the hoses, and the radiator all pre-assembled at the factory, and it's all pre-filled with coolant. And once you poke a hole in that radiator core, you're gonna have all your coolant leaking out all over the place. And like I said, it's junk. So you want to make sure those spacers right there, you want to make sure they're on your mounting screws, or you will puncture that radiator core. So there's 12 of these screws and 12 spacers. And what they do is they go down through the top of the fan as so, and screw into these holes right here. And let's get a couple of those put in there. And I do have my spacer on there. You always want to read your documentation. You never want to take for granted that you can just figure it out on your own. I mean, there are things that you can do that way, but if you're not familiar with what you're building, just glance through it. I mean, just take a quick look at your documentation so you don't do anything that's disastrous. Okay, there we have our first fan in. These are nice fans. You can see it has the Aorus logo on it. These are, I don't know how many LEDs are in that, but I think they're going to look pretty cool. So we'll install our second fan on there. Get our wires out of the road and just butt that up against the other one with our brackets facing down. So our air goes in this way and out through the radiator. Kind of the opposite of a automobile radiator. An automobile radiator will pull the air in through the radiator. These actually blow it out through it. It goes in the opposite direction and out through, well, in our case, it'll be out through the top of the computer case, because we're mounting this on top of the case. I want to try to get, after this video, I want to try to get one more video in so we can get this installed in our case. And I think after that, we may be taking a Christmas holiday break till we resume our build. I'm not sure yet. As I mentioned in one of our last videos, I just dropped one of those. One of those spacers, I just dropped it on the floor. Okay, so we got our second fan installed. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll be making another video after the radiator installation video or not. It's still up in the air as to whether I'm going to do that or not. Depends on what's going on. Want to get these all started first before we tighten them down. And this is all plastic housing on the fan, so excuse me, you don't want to tighten it down too tight. You just want to tighten it down enough to where it holds it in place. You don't want to get overwhelmed at first as far as all your wiring goes. I know it looks like a bunch of spaghetti, but just go one step at a time. Go slow. Kind of organize your wires in different groups. And what I mean by that is, like, group all your fan wires together in one group, like in one harness. Then group all your LED wires together. Group all your front panel header wires all together. And just group those all together and kind of blend them in. But keep them separate in case you have an issue with your computer later. You don't have to undo all your wiring, all the wire management. You only have to separate the harness where you figure where your trouble's at. So okay, we got our fan snug down on there, and that's as tight as we're going to make those, because like I said, they're just plastic and they don't need to be really torqued down, and we don't want to do any damage to our radiator or anything. So let's say some more about this pump right here. I want to show you. This is the surface of the pump right here that goes up against your CPU. Now, we talked in our previous video about thermopaste and how that thermopaste takes up the voids and the imperfections in the surface of the CPU and the surface of this cooler. Let me take this plastic cover off so you can see a little bit better. And these copper cooling surfaces, they do a great job in transferring heat. Now, a lot of people don't like that pre-applied thermopaste. They take it off and apply their own. I installed a couple of these, not this particular cooler, but different AIO coolers, and I left the factory thermopaste on it. I didn't have any problems with it. And also, this bracket right here, this comes pre-installed on the pump. This is for Intel. They also give you a different bracket, and that would be for an AMD application in case you was installing this cooler on like a Ryzen chip. And put that cover back on because I don't want to contaminate that thermopaste. And yeah, I mean, you can see our wires, they you know, somebody that's never built a computer before, I can see how they would overwhelm them. But I found out in a hurry, it's best to just do one step at a time. And what I do is, oh yeah, one other thing I want to mention before I forget. These wire twisty ties that come with all these computer parts that hold your wires together, don't reuse those, because they're metal inside of that plastic. And over the years, through vibrations and so on and so forth, if one of these things would come loose and that metal would get down in there somewhere where it ain't supposed to be, it'll end up shorting something out. So rather than use these, just throw these away. And what we use is we use plastic tie or plastic zip ties, and then we don't have to worry about those things coming off and shorting things out. So this is our LED wire. You can see this is what they call daisy chained together. There ain't three separate ones. There's only one wire, and it's daisy chained into three different plugs. And that will go to our RGB wire coming off of our fans. And like I said, this big plug, this is for our SATA. Our SATA power will come off our power supply and plug into this. And then we also have our fan header harness. This is where our fans will plug into. This one right here, coming off your fan. The fan is a 4-pin connector, and the plug, I believe, is a 3-pin. It really doesn't make any difference. 3 or 4 pin. You can plug them in one way or the other. 4 pin are different in a way that they can be controlled by the temperature of the CPU through the motherboard's temperature sensors. But you can customize that all in the BIOS of the motherboard into the CMOS chip. But you really don't need to know about that. I mean, this isn't meant to be a real technical specification type videos. These are just how to actually assemble one of your own PCs. And then our last wire coming off of our water pump is our USB plug, and this plugs into a USB header inside the computer on the motherboard. It does not plug into a standard USB like you see on the outside of your computer. There's a special USB header on the motherboard, and that's where this goes. And the reason why you need this is that's so your motherboard can communicate with your pump, and that's how it sees it. And then it's controlled through the software. We're going to be using Aorus Fusion 2.0 software to control this. And we're also going to be using that software to control our thermotake fans that we installed in our case previously. So yeah, I mean, there you go. We got our cooler all assembled. And if you can imagine, this is the part that's facing the computer. The air is going in this way from the inside of the computer, then out through the top of the case. So the way this will mount in the computer, see if I can do this without, you can see our Aorus logo on the side. And the way this will mount this way, going up inside the computer. And this side here will face the inside top. And the way this is secured into the computer cases, there's holes in top of the computer case, and they give you these. Show you one of these screws. These are a lot smaller. Let's drop that one. These are a lot smaller, real short screws. And what they do is they go down through the top of the PC case, and they screw into these 12 mounting holes. And that's what holds it up inside like so. So once your radiator's mounted inside your case and secured, and the way we're going to do it, our lines are going to be in the front of the computer case, and are going to swing down in a loop. And this pump will mount this way onto our CPU. Kind of like this. This will be into the case, and then this will be mounted onto the CPU. And I'll show you that whenever we install it. But I just wanted to make this short video today on how to assemble this AIO. So I haven't used one like this before. I mean, I've used all-in-one coolers before, but I never used one from Aorus. I used a couple from Thermotake, and used 2 from Corsair, and I forget what the other one was I used, but I never had any problems with them, and they do a good job of cooling, you know. This is the only one I ever had that has an LCD screen on it, that is customizable screen right here. I mean, that's going to be pretty neat. I can't wait to see how that works out, but according to the documentation, it says you can put your own custom logos on here, or you can just put the factory default logo on it, which is the Aorus symbol like it's on your fan right here. Plus underneath it'll have a digital readout of your CPU temperature. so you can keep track of how hot your computer's getting or how cool it's staying. However you wanna put it. So yeah, don't get overwhelmed with these wires. Like I said, once you get these all straightened out, like I said, keep them organized in groups, and then tie your groups together. When you have extra cable, what I do is I just I'll give you an example here. Say for instance, this cable here, just say for instance it was too long. And what I do in cable management with all that extra cable, I'll just fold this over as so, you know. You never cut it off or try to do anything like that. You just pretty much just fold it over like that, tie it up with a tie strap, and blend your loop into your harness. And then sometimes I gotta say, no matter how hard you try or what you try to do and figure out, there's just no way to do it in a real neat, mannerly fashion. That's why I like cases with a closed back on the left side, so you really can't see all the wiring. But this helicopter case that we're using, it has a glass panel on the left side, so you're going to see all your wiring. So we're going to have to really take our time with our cable management and make it look as neat and professional as possible. And I gotta say, you know, don't get in a hurry when you build these computers. Take your time and enjoy it. I mean, read all your documentation, do it one step at a time, and just have fun with it. I mean, this is you know, people don't normally do this. I mean, they just buy, you know, computers from brick and mortar stores. But when you build your own, I mean, it's your own piece of art. You know, it's something that you did, something that you've assembled, and something that you made work. You know, take your time, you know, and have fun and enjoy it. And people that are really enthusiastic about computer building, like me, for instance, the problem with building your own computer is once you build one, you're going to want to build another one. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt about that. I mean, if you're an enthusiastic computer builder, you're definitely going to want to build your own computer again. And yeah, it's kind of gets addictive if you're really into these technology and electronics and things like that. So so yeah, I just wanted to make this video to show you how to put that cooler together, and that's pretty much all you do to assemble it before you put it into the case. We'll plug our wires in after we get it up in there, figure out where we're going to route them for our cable management. I don't want to plug them in now and have to unplug them, because tell you the truth, these plugs and these wires, they're really small and fragile, and they're really not designed to be plugged in and unplugged, plugged in and unplugged back and forth. Once you get those plugged in, you know, you pretty much want to be where you're going to be. I mean, not to say that you can unplug them, but you don't want to keep doing it over and over. You want to kind of minimize that. So I think that's going to be it for this video. And I thank everybody for tuning in. And like I said, our next video, video number 11, we're going to install this. We're going to install this in our helicopter case. And like I said, it kind of takes 4 hands to do that. I only have 2, but I'll figure it out. But what makes it a little bit harder for me is I have to film this when I do it. I mean, if I wasn't filming this, it would be, a lot easier. But, I wanted to get the instructional videos out there and help people out if they're interested in building computers. So I don't mind doing it at all. It's kind of fun. And, yeah. So there we have it. All-in-one AIO water cooler is all put together and ready to be installed in the case. I mean, that wasn't painful at all. You know, that seemed to be another one of our easy little videos. So I really like these Aorus logos. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but I kind of like it. Um, so yeah, I mean, we're not going to see this once it's in our case. Anything we're going to see is the RGB shining down to the inside of the case. But being that case is so big, who knows? You might be able to see up inside here once it's setting on your desk and you're set beside it. If it sets, you know, it sets pretty high, you might be able to see up in there. But the important part is you see all the RGB shining into your case. Like I said, we're going to synchronize all those colors with our motherboard, our memory, our power supply, and all our fans. We're going to sync them all to a different, or to sync them all to the same color, then have the capabilities of switching colors whenever we want to. And like I said before, I want that capability of to blacken that computer case out on demand. And I think the way I'm going to do that is there's a mobile app that you can install on your telephone and your smartphone, and you can control those lights through that smartphone app. So I think that'd be pretty cool if you want to black that computer out. You just tell your Alexis, or if you have an Amazon Echo, you can do it through the Amazon Echo. But yeah, that's all personal stuff. You know that it's up to you what you want to do. But as far as basic PC building goes, you ain't going to have to mess with all this. Basically, you're just going to be building your motherboard, installing your motherboard into the PC case, and install maybe 2 or 3 fans, and that's about it. So yes, it's a lot less involved than what we're doing here. But I figure if you watch how to build this one, you'll be able to build one of the simpler ones with no problem. So let me think for a couple seconds here to see if there's anything I forgot to tell you. Because like I mentioned before, a lot of times when I finish these videos up, then I forgot to mention something. So yeah, this one thing I could mention is the coolant that's inside these hoses right here, and inside your radiator and everything. That's supposed to last for about, they say 5 years, but I've had people tell me that they've had these coolers for a lot longer than that and never had any problems with it. If this was a modular cooler setup where you had your separate radiator and made up your custom lines and had your own, custom pump and filters and reservoir, now in that case you would have to change that coolant every year. I always thought myself, what if you used coolant from a car application, when they have that 10-year coolant where it's supposed to last 10 years, but I don't know if you could use that in a computer radiator or not. I don't see why. I mean, coolant's coolant, but yeah, I mean, other than that, I really can't think of anything else to say about this cooler, other than I think it's pretty cool. I chose this one because I like Gigabyte's products. I like their Aorus line, and the reason why, to be honest with you, the reason why I didn't pick a Thermotake one to match all our Thermotake components in our PC is because I don't like the pump on the Thermotake AIO. I just don't like it doesn't have the customizable LCD screen on it like this one here does. And so I wanted to try this out. Okay, everybody, that's about all for this video. I want to thank you for watching, and have a great day, and have a good evening. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and click that little bell so you don't miss any future videos. Like I said, we're going to be making our next video in a couple, well, probably not even a couple of days, probably tomorrow, and we're going to be installing this radiator and getting it done. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.